Okay, Ashland, I have a question for you. Why is it that you only have two temperatures for your water? Either freezing under a lake cold, or throw a lobster in me, I'm ready hot. What's up with that? Hey peeps. So recently I've been involved with a lot of conversation regarding diversity, racism, prejudice, and here's what I want to talk about today. There have been these forums and panels in Los Angeles that I've attended. One of my YouTube friends, MalfoyisOurKing, is petitioning to get a person of color panel on the VidCons. Check out our video. I'm really excited that Jessica is making this movement. And as part of the FAIR program in Ashland, we have these conversations about diversity and privilege. Now here's the thing about diversity and privilege. It's the opposite of Ashland's water. Not entirely hot, not entirely cold, not black and white. Everyone falls into a different range of being racist and prejudiced. Part of it is that you don't even know it. Any kind of prejudgment you assign to someone based off of little information, that's a prejudice. Now I've been thinking about this specifically in relationship to theater. Now here's the thing about equal rights. Just because the playing field is now even, doesn't mean that everyone has equal opportunity. A big topic that's really come about recently is the idea of white privilege. Now I'm not here just to talk about white privilege. There are privileges of all spectrums. Acknowledging you have privilege in your life is one of the better parts of self-awareness. And unfortunately, things like privilege and institutional racism have a really long history, long before you were even born. There's this great study I've seen regarding wealth privilege that I'd like to reference. Imagine you're playing a game of Monopoly. If the game starts unevenly, it's certainly not fair. Let's say you start with $1,500, but your opposing player starts with half of that. And when you get to roll dice, you get to roll 2, but your other player gets to roll 1. Most likely, they're not going to be able to collect as much property, get as much rent, travel far enough in the game. When they pass go, they get half the amount you do. You're collecting your property and your money, and then you start to die off and you hand out all off to your children. Same thing, your opposing player is handing that off to their children. Over a certain amount of time, your money's going to just continue to grow and grow, or theirs is going to slowly grow very minimally. Let's say 100 years later, suddenly it's like, this isn't right, something's wrong here. So let's even it out. Everyone gets to roll 2 dice, everyone gets to the same amount of money when they pass go. But is this truly even? When they started the game, they started out with half the amount of money. And the 100-something years that have passed, they've collected less money, they've advanced less. When you say everything is equal now and it's equal opportunity, it's not, because there's a history of oppression. Take that example for now, and say you apply for a job for something. And this is why diversity programs are so important now. By consciously making an effort to diversify, you're fighting a history of oppression. Now I understand some of the frustrations that some white people go through when they apply for a job, and let's say a person of color gets it simply because they're a person of color. I might have some issues with that idea, but I understand this feeling of, why am I at a disadvantage because people in my ancestral history did something? But if you look at it from the person of color standpoint, why am I at a disadvantage because something that happened to my ancestors a long time ago? And many people of color are disadvantaged. Each case and each circumstance is different. But looking at the history of oppression and today's society, people of color still have a long way to go before things are equal. I think about this in my career in theater and as a director. When I look at my industry, the people who are hiring artists the most, such as actors and directors, are these theaters called LORT, which is part of the League of Resident Theaters. In the United States, there are 74 LORT theaters out there. All of these theaters have an artistic director and some kind of an executive director or managing director. In an interview with Joseph Hodge, who's the artistic director of Playmakers in North Carolina, he pointed out that in these 74 theaters, about 150 leaders of these theaters, only 6 of them are people of color. That's 2%. Now I know for a fact in the United States, the percentage of people of color is not 2%. This doesn't encourage me as a director of color that I'm going to have a viable career in this industry. And the thing about artistic directors is they are choosing the plays and the artists who get to work in their theater. And most of them are turning to a lot of friends and colleagues of theirs that they respect and admire. And they're hoping to tell stories that reflect them, reflect their community. But if your experiences as an artistic director is predominantly white, you may not be as thoughtful of the writers, directors, and actors of color that exist. These stories which should diversify the experience of being American. So hopefully I'm inspiring some of you to see more theater, but I'm hoping that you're gonna go see theater by people of color. Because by diversifying your idea of what it means to be American, I'm hoping you'll be able to pass that on in the work that you do, the children that you raise, and the people that you work with. So that's my case for why diversity is important. As usual, with any advice, you could always keep it up here or jot it down. Either way, it's great advice. Until next time, folks, lates. Oh my god, was I not recording? Oh, I was. Yay.